Hello again, dear friends. Thank you for joining me in another Python tutorial video. So far, we have seen actually the append method to add an object to a list, but there are other methods for this purpose. Let's see the spider environment. Okay. One of these methods is the extend method. Using extend, you can combine two lists. That is, the extend input is a list of objects. You can see the examples of using extend here. Let's see them with each other. Okay. For example, suppose that we have list A including 1, 2, 3. Okay. And suppose that we have list B including okay, okay, okay. If we apply the method append on the first list, for example, append 1. Let's see what happened. Let's call the A. You can see that a 1 number has added to the list A at the end of the list. Let's try another one. Append, for example, 15. Let's call the A list again, and you can see that the 15 number, which was the append's input at the last attempt, is added to the A list at the end of the list. Consider these points. Let's try another one with A and append method. Let's this time add a string. For example, hello. Let's call the A list again, and you can see that no matter the type of this member, this entry and input of append method was not similar to the others types of the A's, the lists actually members. The new member was added to the list, and it is placed on the last position in the final list. Okay, now let's try another example. Append. Let's for example append the list. For example, to A, B, C, an empty list, and just this. Let's call the A again, and you can see that these lists have been added to the A as a separate member, as a unique member actually. Let's try the extend method. A dot extend, for example, B. Let's call the A. We can see that the final A, which we had built here, is placed at the first, and then the members of B, which we had defined here, you can see that, are added to the A list. You can see it here. Let's try another example. A dot extend, for example, a list. Let's make this A list a bit neater. Let's use the pop method. Remember that what does this method do? The pop method returns the last member of the list, and actually it removes the last members simultaneously. You can see that if we call the A list, the list does not include its last member. Okay, let's apply the pop method. To the A list in order to have a neater list actually. Okay, now I think that our list will be okay. We have the A list which we have defined it at first. We can call it, and you can see that this A list includes just 3 numbers. Okay, let's do the extend method. Let's apply the extend method actually to this new A list, this neat A list. Let's apply, for example, hi, how are you, question mark, 100 number. Okay, let's call the A list. We can see that the members of this entry list are added to the A list. You can see them here. Let's apply this extend method with an input which is an empty list, for example. Let's call this A again, and you can see that there is no change here. Nothing have been added to the list A here. Okay. As you can see, when using extend, we will have a list containing the members of both lists as the output result. Not a list that contains 2 completely separate lists. That is, the parameters inside the new list are not lists, rather, they are according to the type of members of the primary lists. Of course, as you can see, we can review various examples, including a list of disciplines here. You can also check different conditions and examples yourself. An interesting point is that, as you can see in the examples, the append must have an entry. You can see the differences between append and extend and try it yourself. For example, if the entry of append is an empty list and an empty list is added to the initial list, but if the input of extend is an empty list, no parameter is added to the initial list because append is applied to the entire input parameter and extend is applied to the members inside the input list. So when the input of append is an empty list, the append looks at this list itself as an input parameter. But if the input of extend is an empty list, then extend does not find a parameter as input. So in fact, there will be no parameter to apply extend on it. So no action will be done by extend on the initial list. Let's restart the IPython console once and clear the variables once to get out of this busy state here. Okay, restart, yes. Let's delete this. Okay. So far we have reviewed the two methods for adding an object to a list, append and extend, both of which add objects to the end of the list. In some cases, it may be necessary to add a parameter to the beginning of the list. For example, we want to add a parameter at any desired point of the list. For this purpose, we have a function in Python. We have methods for it and we can use these methods. The method that exists here is the insert method. Okay, let's define A as a list includes, for example, these numbers. Okay. And then use the expression a.insert. Okay. As you can see, insert takes two inputs. The first is the index to which we want to add the input parameter. Actually, it represents the location where we intend to add the desired object. The second parameter of the insert entry is the desired object itself, which can be of any type. Note that these indexes start from 0. That is, if we choose index 0 to add the desired object, the desired object will be placed in the first space in our list. Note that the function of insert is to add and not to replace. For example, when we use the expression, for example, a.insert 0, 500, for example. Let's call the A list. Okay. This 500 does not replace 1. Rather, the members of list A are moved forward 1 place, and 500 is placed in the first place. Note that 1 was the first member of the list A and was placed at index 0. There are other methods to add an object to the list. You can get good information about all the things you can do with lists by using help list. Okay, let's apply the help function on list keyword. Okay, there are these explanations about lists and their properties, their options, and you can read them yourself if you want to get familiar with them. There are various methods defined for lists. There are special methods that we will talk about later. When we come to the discussion of classes and talk about them, you will get to know them. You can see that there are many methods here. If you want more information about any of these, you can still use help. For example, as you can see, you can type, for example, help a list dot, for example, append. You can see that this command provides complete explanations about the append method and its functions in the discussion of lists. In this way, you can get good information about each of these. So let's do a very small but interesting project to learn more about the concepts of lists. For example, suppose that we want to take a phrase and convert it into another word only with list methods. For example, suppose we define the variable phrase in this way. Let's do it. Let's go to here. Okay. Phrase, for example, as hello, have a nice time, and exclamation time mark. Okay. Considering that we want to work with list methods, we must first convert this variable into a list. Let's do it. List phrase. Okay, and let's, for example, give a name to it. For example, let's get this is a ph, for example, list. Okay. For this purpose, we define ph list in this way, that is, we apply the list function to the phrase variable. This is one of the ways to make lists. So if we apply the list function to a sequence, we will have a list of that sequence, and now this phrase variable is also a sequence. If you remember, strings were sequences. This phrase variable is also of string type, so it is a sequence. For now, we only print phrase, and in the same way, we print ph underline list. Let's do it. Print this phrase variable, okay, and print this ph list. Okay, let's press the F5, and you can see the result here. This is phrase, and this is the list containing the phrase's parameters in it. Okay. Let's save and run for now. When this program is executed, it first prints the string inside the phrase variable for us, and then prints the string list resulting from this phrase. As you can see, the parameters are printed one by one as separate members of this list. And pay attention that even the spaces between the words of this string expression are not exempt from this rule. We want to change this phrase to the word, for example, heterogeneous. So we need heterogeneous and s. And we just want to use list methods. The first thing we want to do is remove the last exclamation mark. Here are some methods. You can try any of them. We will check one of the passes together. To remove the last member, we use the pop method. Considering that the pop method removes the last member of the list if there is no input, we can apply the pop method on a ph list. Let's do it. For example, let's do it here. Yes. Let's ph list dot pop. Okay, we can run it. Okay, you can see that although the string does not have any changes, but the list, which was the same ph list, does not include the last member, which was the exclamation mark. Okay, the last member of this list is deleted. We can print this new ph list here. Okay, we can see what changes have happened to our list. Of course, we can also have the string version of this list here. We create the variable new phrase. For this purpose, we insert the quotation mark, we put the dot, and with the join method applied to ph list, we create the string version of this list. And now we can also print the same new phrase. In this way, we can see the changes step by step. Let's do it. We can define the variable, for example, new phrase, and say pay attention. We can insert a quotation mark, insert a dot, write join, put a parenthesis, and we should have a list here, our list, which is ph list. Okay, now we want to print this new phrase too. Okay, you can press F5 and see the result. You can see that our first phrase was this one. Our new list is this one, which does not include the exclamation mark, and our new string is this one, which does not exclamation mark either. As you can see, the last member is not in the list, and also the new string does not include the exclamation mark. Okay, now we can remove the other extra letters here too. We can easily remove all the extra letters using the remove method. Every time you run the program, you can see that all the commands are executed accurately. The noteworthy point is that when we insert the space as the input of the remove method, this method only applies to the first space. The one in the list which is first is applied the method on it, and not to all the spaces. Let's do the project. Okay, we can do it here. We can have, for example, we want to have the word heterogeneous, so we need this H and E. But after them, we need this T, for example. So we in the heterogeneous word, we do not need these two L's, so we can remove them. Let's do it. Let's say to our program ph.list.remove. We want to remove these two L's. We want to remove 2L, so we can apply this method to this list 2 times, or we can have a iteration loop for it. There are no difference, we can say it, remove L, and copy paste it again, and we can say we can have for I in range 2, it means that do it. Okay, we have missed it here. Okay, let's press the F5 button and see the result. You can see that this was our first phrase. This is our list here, which does not include any L here, and this is our new phrase. Okay, this is our new phrase, and we want to put this T here after this E. Okay, so we should let's talk about it. Okay, what is the index of this T? Let's count. The indexes starts from 0, so let's count 0, 1, 2, 3, again 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So if we want to access this member, we need to apply the method pop to our variable, our list, actually ph.list with the index of 17. Okay, and remember that we have talked about a new method which was insert. So let's try it. Let's apply the insert method to the ph list, and remember that this insert receives two inputs. The first one is the index in which we want to add the parameter to it. We want to add the parameter here at the third place, which has the index of 2. So write 2 as the desired location of this adding, and consider the result of this piece of code as the desired parameter which we want to add to this list. Remember that when we use a pop method, we do not miss the member of this list which is located in this index. Pop method always returns the original member to us, and by this way we can use this returned parameter. Okay, let's press the F5, and you can see that this was our first phrase. This is our list here, and you can see that, and also this is our new phrase. You can see that the T letter is located at the third place. Okay, we want the word heterogeneous, so we need an E after this T. We have one here. Let's at the same way count to know that what is the index of this E in our list. The indices start from 0 in lists. Don't remember 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the index of this E in our list is 9. Let's apply it. In the same way, we write a PH list that answered. We want to add this E after this T. So the location is 3, and the desired parameter is the output of applying the pop method on our PH list. We should apply this pop method on a PH list with which index, with which input? 9, because after counting the indices in this list, we figured out that the index of this E in this list is 9. Okay, now let's press the F5 button on the keyboard, and you can see that this was our previous our phrase at the first. This is our new list. This is our new phrase, and you can see that this E is here after T, which we wanted. Okay, now if we have a R letter after this E, we have the entry, the initial letters of our desired word, which is heterogeneous, but there is no R here in our phrase, so we need it by hand. Or we can benefit from the same insert method. Use the 4 number as desired index, because we are going forward one step, and we want to put this R letter after this E, so its index will be 4, and we want to put R. Okay, let's press the F5 button on keyboard and see the result. This was our first phrase. This is our new list, and this is our new phrase. You can see that this is a R letter written here. Okay, now we need a G letter after this O, which is not available in our list, so we do it like before. Pay attention that here the index should be 6, because we have already this O here. Okay, 6. Object is the letter G. Press F5, see the result, and you can see that we have the word heterogeneous until G letter. So we should remove this comma and this space, this comma, this space, this H, this A, this V, this space, this A, this space, all of them are extra. So we can avoid extra repeated tasks by benefiting from loops. Let's do it. 4. I in range. We want to do it from here, which is index 7. Remember that starts were inclusive, so we put 7. Start, we want to 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We want to remove the letters, the members of this list from index 7 to index 14, considering the fact, considering the rule that stops are exclusive. So we should answer the 15 here as stop point. Okay, we want to apply on this PH list the method pop actually. Pop I. Okay. Let's press F5 to see the result. You can see that. Oh. We wanted to delete these 7. Oh. What's the problem here? Can you guess? This for loop I have executed one time and consider I as 7. And by this way, it has removed the comma. And in the next iteration, this space parameter had the same index 7 in the new phrase. We forgot this fact. So it is better to do it like, let's do it. We want to apply this deletion process, this removing process. How many times? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 7 times, 8 times, 9 times. Again, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, 8 times. We want to repeat the process 8 times, and let's try this one. Let's press the F5. Okay, this is correct because here we can see that when in the first iteration this for loop is executed, this comma's index was 7. So the for loop executed, and this pop method applied to this ph list and remove the 7th index, actually the 8th member of this list, which was this comma, and the new phrase, the new list became actually a list in which this space had the same index 7. So in the next iteration of this for loop, again this pop method applied to the ph list with the same index 7, and in the second iteration of this loop, this space was the member of this list which was deleted, and it continued, as you can see. So pay attention to these tiny points which are so important. Okay, now we have our word here, heterogeneous. Okay, we should put an E here. And we needed, for example, here. Okay, let's count and do the same task we have done before. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here we should apply on this ph list the insert method with 2 inputs. So the first one is the desired location, which is here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We want to add a parameter at the index 7, and the parameter would be which parameter? The result of the applying this pop method on this same ph list of which index. We have counted that this number of index of this E was 10. So let's press the F5 button and see the result. Yes, we have a heterogeneous. Now we need an O and an U and an S at the end, and we do not need any other parameter. So now we have to insert this O, U and S letter after this N. Let's do it. ph underline a list, insert at the index 8 a letter O, ph underline list, insert at the index 9 a letter U, apply to the pH underlined list the method insert at the index 10 and the letter S. Okay, let's press the F5 button on the keyboard and you can see that we have the heterogeneous word here. Okay, we have the heterogeneous word here and we do not need the rest of these items. So we can tell to our program to delete all of the other. Okay, how many extra parameters are available in our final phrase up to now? Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's have another for loop for I in range. How many times we need to do it? 7 times. Let's count another time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 times. Run this code. pH underline list dot pop. Remember that if you do not consider any input for the pop method, it removes the last member of the list. So when this line of code executes 7 times, it will delete the 7 final members of this list and also the 7 final letters of this phrase as a consequence. Let's see the result. Press F5 and you can see the heterogeneous word here on your screen. Okay. For more readability of the codes, we create a number of spaces between them. For example, here we can do this spacing here. Okay, we can do it here, we can do it here. Okay. This project is not very useful in itself, but it is useful for practicing with various list capabilities in the real world of programming. You will see various uses of list methods. I have prepared additional explanations for you in the attached documentation sections. Let's see them. Okay. You can surely get a deeper understanding of these concepts by reading them. You can see what this means when I say, for example, the third place and the second index. In the discussion of list exercises, you must do many exercises yourself to understand the concept. Well, you can see here, for example, H is placed at the first space, at the first place in this list, which has the 0 index. E is placed at the second place in this list, which has the 1 index. The third parameter has the 2 index. The fourth parameter has the index 3. The fifth parameter has the index 4. The seventh parameter, the sixth parameter has the index 5. The seventh parameter has the index 6, and you can see it consecutively. Okay. The next discussion is square bracket notation. For example, if you have a list A, using this method, you can reach its first and third member, for example. That is, this notation works with indices. As I have already mentioned, the first member is at index 0, and the index number is generally 1 less than the sequential number of a member's position in a list. In this way, you can access different members of a list. Python has a wonderful feature that supports negative indices. For example, A square bracket minus 1 refers to the last member in the list A. That is, if we start indexing the lists from the beginning to the end, or from left to right, the number of these indices will start from 0 and then they will increase 1 by 1. If we start indexing from the end to the beginning of the list, or from right to left, the index number starts from -1 and decreases 1 by 1. For example, A square bracket minus 2 corresponds to the penultimate member of the list A. This feature can be very useful sometimes. Let's back to Python. Okay, for example, suppose we have a word like W. Now, if we want to access the letters of this word, we have to convert it into a list, and in this way, we can use the square bracket notation method. We can access the members of this list. If we add a number as an index that is not in the index range of this list, we will get an error. Let's do it. Let's, for example, define letters as a list of this W. Okay, we can see that, for example, letters 2 is L. See here, W is a string, a variable, which its size is 5, and its hello letters is list of its letters with the same size, and the second index corresponds to the third member of this list is L, which we can see here. Okay, let's see, for example, what is the letters 5. You can see the error because the size of this list is 5, so it only has 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 indices. Another interesting feature of lists in this topic is support for start, stop, and step method. And interestingly, all three of these are optional. You may consider a number of these, but if you consider a number for them, you will not get an error. If we do not put the starting number, 0 is considered. If we do not define the stop number, the largest index is considered. If we do not put the step number, it is considered 1. Let's first define a slightly longer W. For example, let's define this W as, for example, hello, I am Azal Laluha. I have dedicated most of my life to data science during the recent years. Python was my best friend in this journey. Okay. For example, in this way, we can define the start as 0, the stop as 20, and tell the program to advance 4 to 4 in the places of this list. Let's do the same. Letters, list W. Okay. And you can see that, for example, if we do letters, stop 0, start 0, stop 20, step 4. Excuse me. We can see it here. Okay. Let's see. Let's see the letters list. Oh. Okay. Okay, in the letters list, we can see that H, O, space, G, and A are printed as output. Why? Because we have told to Python to print, to return the members of the letters list, start from 0, stop at 20, and give us every 4 of them. Let's see that if Python has its task correctly. We told to Python to return the members start from 0. So the first one, which has the index 0, is H, and we could see that is printed in the output. So it is correct. The next printed letter was O. Considering that we told to Python to consider that step as 4, we see that Python has returned the O letter to us. Let's see what is the index of this member in this list. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The index is 4, and this letter is the 5th member of this list. So Python returned us the index 0, which is the first member, and the index 4, which is the 5th member, and the index 8, which is the 9th member. Let's see. This is index 4, index 5, index 6, index 7, index 8, which is the 9th. Remember that the third returned member was a space. Okay, the next one was placed at the index 12, which is the 13th member of this list. Index 12. Let's see what is the index level. The index 12, index 9, index 10, index 11, index 12. Maybe we have error, we have fault here. The next returned parameter is g, which should have the index 12 and which should be the 13th member of the list. So let's see. Let's count. Let's count the indexes which starts from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, this is correct. 11, 12. G has the index 12 and is placed on the 13th location in the list. The next member should have the index 16 and should be placed on the 17th location in this list. Let's count to reach it. This index was 12, so 13, 14, 15, 16. The next returned letter was A, which has the index 14 and is placed on the 17th location. Okay, and the next one should be 4 index later than 16, which is index 20, but because we defined the stop of this notation as 20, and remember that stops are exclusive in these notations, so this A letter was the last returned letter, and the code, the execution of this piece of code was stopped here because we wrote 20 as the stop place here. Okay, for example, if you consider letters, a square bracket, 5, and a column. This is that 5 is considered as the start, and by default stop and step are considered as the highest index and 1 respectively. You can see it here, and you can try it by yourself too. You can see that the index 0 to 4 are not returned, and we have our list's members from the 5th index, which corresponds to the 6th parameter of the list. Okay, you can try another one. For example, a letters, square bracket, place a column, and insert a 12 number. Oh, I forgot to add the S. Here I have dictation error. Okay, you can see that in this way this line is interpreted as the start and step are not defined, and the stop point is 12. That is, start and step are considered 0 and 1 by default. You can see here the stop point is index 12, the start point is the index 0, and the step considered the default one, which is 1. Now if we write the expression, for example, letters, a square bracket, insert 2 column, and for example 3 number, you can see that the interpreter considers the start and stop by default and in the order equal to 0 and the largest index, and moves the 3 to 3 in the list. That is, it considers the step as 3. You can see that in this way the interpreter considers the start index as 0. You can see, and you can see that it considers the step number as a 3, so it returned us the 3rd index, which is the 4th parameter of our initial list, and it move on the list 3 to 3, and it go forward until the end. Okay. Let's talk about strings here. As we said before in the discussion of strings in Python, single quotation and double quotation are both useful for creating strings. There is no difference between the two, but in Python it is customary to use single quotation. For example, if we have, for example, a variable a equal to hello, there is no different to define it like this, or for example another variable b like this, you know. There is no different and difference and any preferences between these two, but Python programmers usually use single quotation, you know. But there is an exception, except in cases of where there is this quotation mark inside the target phrase, that is the phrase that we intend to use as a string the phrase that we want to type and save as a string. In this case, there are two ways to solve the problem of confusing the beginning and the end of the fields. The first solution is to use a backslash, and the second is to use double quotation. For example, consider a string, for example, hello, I'm okay. As you can see here, because there is a single quotation in this phrase, there would be a confusing problem here. One approach is to use a backslash. When you insert a backslash here before this single quotation, the interpreter does not consider this element as the end of the string, and in this way you can command, you can tell the interpreter to pass this part of string and consider the next single quotation as the end of your string. But there is another way. For example, you can here use a double quotation, because you know that in the middle of your code you want to need the single quotation, so you prevent this confusion by using a double quotation. You can see that in this way there is no problem either. Like the I'm okay example you see here. Among Python programmers, the second solution is more common. Okay, this was also an important point which I felt that it's not bad if I point to it here. Okay, dear friends, thank you for being with me in this video. Do not miss the exercises and projects in the attached files, and be by my side so that we can walk the path of success together. Have a nice time.